The indie author revolution has been around for more than a decade, but we indies continue to push the boundaries of what we're capable of. From getting over initial prejudices to staring down perfectionism and author imposter syndrome, we've become a force to reckon with. Indie authors now wear more hats than ever as we strive to create a career full of meaning, prosperity, and potential. We've juggled the demands and continue to be rebels in the face of adversity. Now, after years of hearing the shouts of hustle and grind, we indies are rebelling again. Gone are the days of publishing a book a month until we drop, and in its place are the seeds of a better way to rapid release. A way that feels incredible as we build a sustainable, lifelong author career that not only increases our visibility and royalties, but it's all done with intention and ease. If you're ready to buck the system and become the visionary authorpreneur I know you're meant to be, you've come to the right place. I'm Carissa Andrews, international best-selling indie author, and this is the Author Revolution podcast. Well, hey there, guys. Welcome back to the Author Revolution podcast. Oh, my goodness. We have had quite the week when it comes to feeling the things, feeling all the vibes, feeling the things that are making us grow and expand into who we're trying to become. Now, I've been having some interesting conversations with some of my students, and I decided to do a podcast episode around this because I think a lot of us, especially those of us who are light workers, we don't really understand just how powerful our emotions really are in guiding us towards the direction of our desires. So let me explain. Right now, I have a couple of authors who are just so fed up. They're just so pissed that their author careers are not working out in the way they had hoped, in the way that they desired, in the way that they expect it to turn out, right? Now, we've talked about how sometimes we authors have this tendency to be mid-manifestation and not realize it. It's like trying to plant a seed of corn in the dirt and expecting an hour or two later to see the big stalk of corn, right? Going out there and going, what the hell? Nothing has changed. Why hasn't this thing changed? Why hasn't it grown? And then digging up the seed and eating that and then going, why wasn't this as fulfilling as I thought it would be? That's the same kind of concept we have when we're in mid-manifestation and we're expecting the results, but it's not here yet. So when you get pissed though, the reason why this is actually a really beneficial movement for you is that you've more than likely pulled yourself straight up out of guilt, insecurity, jealousy, unworthiness, maybe a little bit of fear, depression, despair, powerlessness. You've moved yourself up the emotional scale to a point of going, you know what? I am so effing done with this. This is either going to work or it's not going to work. And the reason why that is so freaking powerful is because now you are no longer feeling like you can't do this. You're no longer in that energy or the momentum of feeling like nothing is ever going to change. You're at that place now where you're like, you know what? This thing is going to be my bitch or else. You are ready to conquer things. And sometimes if you're not even really paying attention, you can slip straight from that whole anger element into something a little bit even more powerful, which is more like a positive expectation or a contentment or even like a little bit of impatience. And impatience is up on the emotional scale as well. When you are moving the energies, when you're shifting from some of those more dense energies of feeling like you can't do this thing, and you get into those ones where there's a little more power behind it, there's a little more passion going on with it, you're going to find yourself in a place where you can make better decisions. You can move forward because you're like, well, if this isn't working, then screw it all. We're just going to make things happen anyway. I'm going to do it my way. Screw this whole thing, blah, 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 whatever. And so when you get to that place, and believe me, I've had a number of those moments where I'm sitting in my car going, come on, universe, what in the actual F is happening right now? I'm doing everything possible to do whatever I can to get to XYZ goal. Why are you not helping me? And ultimately, you're really actually yelling at yourself, right? You're telling yourself, like, why haven't you gotten in the right vibe? Why haven't you gotten to the place where things flow easier? What is it that you're missing? When you get there, though, when you're in that angry moment, the key is to act on some of the inspiration that is going to come flowing to you. Because sometimes, especially if you're ranting, like if you go into a rant or a rampage, as Abraham Hicks calls them, where you are, you start where you're at and then you start flowing with all the thoughts that are coming at you and try to reach for the next best feeling thought, you're going to find yourself shifting that vibe pretty quickly because the energy is already flowing. You're already in that passionate anger or that passionate irritation or impatience or frustration. You're ready to just make something goddamn happen, which is great because you are now closer to that millionaire author destiny. You're not in a place where you're feeling like you can't do it. You're not in a place where you're feeling insecure or guilty over the stuff that you haven't accomplished. You're not feeling unworthy of it. You are actually almost on the other side of that positive expectation because of the fact that you expect it, but it's not here. So God damn it, why isn't it working? Right? I want you to be thinking about today, how can you leverage that energy? How can you grab onto it and make some magic happen? So when you're pissed off, like I said, do the rampage, do the rant, try to elevate your energy further and to move it into an even more positive aspect so that more insightful information can come your way. We get all sorts of inspired actions that come to us even when we're in those moments of feeling like we're angry, even when we're in those moments where we're feeling like nothing is working, even when we are not in our best place, we're still getting that inspired guidance from our higher selves, from the universe, however you want to describe it. And every little nudge forward is a nudge in the right direction. It's a nudge pointing you towards the desired outcome you are reaching for. So if you're feeling pissed off, or if you're feeling disgruntled, or you're feeling even bored with your author career, take these as good signs because it means that you're not in discouragement. It means that you're not feeling like this can never happen. So it's up to you then to shift your vibe just a little bit more, to tweak it every day and to get better at becoming so that you can embrace the future you. Now, if you get a moment, I want you to really think about where you came from. Like, where did you start with this author career? What was the feeling journey of it? Like, did you start off on a high and then kind of dive into despair or discouragement or, feeling like you were insecure about the whole thing? Or did you start there, but you wanted to start feeling better, so the writing made you feel good? Like, what did the emotional journey feel like for you? And as you do that, when you look at that landscape, consider how it's had those peaks and valleys, those ups and downs. Consider how the author aspect of your author career really makes you feel. And then I want you to really envision who it is you want to step into. What does the future you look like? What would a millionaire author version of you look like? Would she be feeling discouraged? Would he feel like, he wants to beat up everyone? Would he feel like adding money to his marketing campaigns? Would that be unnecessary? What would a millionaire author you do? Like, how would they operate? Would they reach out to other newsletters to see if you could share in there? Or would they be like, hey man, I've got this thing, whatever. How does that look like for you? What do you want it to look like for you? I want you to think about some of these questions and maybe even take out your journal and answer them, because some of the reasons why we get so anxious or some of the reasons why we get so angry and pissed off at our career is because we're doing things we don't really want to do either. You know what I mean? We're trying to get to some place that is totally attainable, but we're doing it in a way that doesn't feel good. It doesn't ring our bells, so to speak. And so we are going against who we are and what we've become and evolved into. So if you can take some time to really think about what your author career should look like, that is going to help you tremendously, because it's going to help you to dictate to yourself, this is how I want my average day to look. This is how I want the writing process to flow for me. This is how I want to determine whether or not my ad campaign needs to be, bumped up. This is how I want to funnel more money into my books and grow my readership. This is how I want to write X number of books. I want you to be thinking about all of those things. Look at your career now and think about the ideal career you're trying to move towards. And then maybe start creating some incremental steps to bridge that gap, help you to get from where you are now in this pissed off or agitated place to a place of contentment, to a place of feeling like you have the power again to create the author career you really want. I know for me, that was one of the most powerful things that I did this year when I really sat down and decided, I guess maybe it was even before this year, because Rapid Release Roadmap, when I first started that course, it was literally to teach you the different ways of rapid releasing. And the more I was experimenting with rapid releasing, the more I was like, you know what, this is not sustainable for most people. Doing rapid releasing this way does not feel good. This is like terrible. And that's how rapid releasing 4 books a year came to be. But I needed to have some breathing room because I'm a mom. I have a bazillion kids. We're doing a lot of different things. I have the author revolution side of my business. I have 2 clients that I'm still doing work with. I have one-on-one coaching clients now that I am helping to level up their experiences and their author careers. So there's a lot of things on my plate that I'm constantly in motion about. And so for my own books, in order to write them and do all the other things and meet all the other requirements, I knew that I would have to create some space in my life. And so 4 books a year, I could do that. I could do 4 books a year and still create other things. I could do 4 books a year and still drag my kids across Kingdom Come, whatever, right? So I want you to think about what your life looks like. What is it you want your career to really grow into? How is it going to feel good to you? That's the best way and the best use of that angry vibe, that pissed off, I'm so fed up with this vibe. So, and know that this is normal. I think most authors, as we go through these transitions of growth, we go through these moments where we're just so fed up, and we're fed up of doing things the way we've always done them. We're fed up of not growing and not seeing this expansion that we envision for ourselves. And so that's the time to latch on to that anger and really go, you know what? You're right. I can do this. I can become more. Don't let it be the thing that drags you under and makes you feel unworthy. Don't let it be the thing that makes you feel as though you can't handle this, because you absolutely can. The expansion that we are seeking when it comes to our careers and when it comes to the worlds that we're building is so worth the vibe. It is so worth the effort and the transition inside ourselves, because really ultimately what it comes down to is that we have control over how we feel. We have control over what we think and how we can shift into a better feeling place. And when we do that, that's when all that magic comes to us. That's when all the cool new ways to innovate comes to us. So I want you to think about all of those things. Take out a journal, really envision your world, your life, and how it's going to look once you've actually reached the goal that you've set for yourself. Because you know you have a goal, whether it's a millionaire author destiny, or whether it's best-selling author, whether it is a New York Times bestseller, or whether it's just that you want to publish those X number of books this year. You can do those things. You can make that magic happen. But sometimes it means talking yourself into it, reminding yourself how awesome you are, reminding yourself how far you've come and how you can absolutely do this. Because when you look around at how everyone else is handling things, how indie authors everywhere are making millions of dollars, of course you can be one of those people. If they can do it, why not you? If they can expand into something that's giving them the author career of their dreams, why not you? The only difference between them and you is the fact that they have allowed it in. They've allowed the good vibes to flow. They've allowed that possibility to guide them. And so when you're feeling pissed off, or when you're feeling like it's not happening or it's not flowing, remember to give yourself a little bit of grace and to allow some space in your day to just be calm and quiet. Maybe take 10, 15 minutes a day to meditate. Take 10, 15 minutes a day to journal and to understand how you're feeling and where your thoughts are right now, because that gives you clarity into what your point of attraction is. Remember, you can't bring to you the thing you want by focusing on the lack of it. And so if you want it, if you are ready for it, if you are done with the lack of it, let it go. Let that aspect of it go and focus only on the positive. Focus only on what it is that you are trying to bring to you, because that's going to be your point of attraction. Now, we've talked a little bit about point of attraction, but really ultimately, your thoughts become things. So the more you think a thought and the more that you repeat that thought, it turns into a belief. So a belief is really just a thought you continue to think. And when you believe it, that is also your point of attraction. That's how you know whether or not you're close to bringing the thing to you. Because when you look at your thoughts and you decide it's not, what you're doing isn't enough, or you're not there yet, or you're feeling like you're putting yourself down, or you're feeling angry because it's all happening, you're not quite there yet. But it doesn't mean you're farther away than where you were. It's all about understanding that as you move through the emotional scale, there are levels to it. Digging yourself out of that jealousy of others, that insecurity and unworthiness, digging yourself out of that and getting to a point of overwhelmment or disappointment or frustration, all of those are up that emotional scale. And that's the direction you want to go to get to the point of really feeling like you are making an impact with your author career and feeling like your life is on the right track, because that's really what we want. I mean, we can talk about this being about authors all day long, but understanding law of attraction and manifestation and how it's going to ultimately bring us the full life that we want is so beneficial and it's so crucial. And I think you have it in you to make that change. All right, I want you to have a wonderful rest of your week. Make sure you head over to authorrevolution.org/145 if you'd like to download the transcript to today's podcast episode. And in the meantime, I want you to do amazing things with yourself. I want you to write some great things, give yourself some grace, do some meditating and maybe some journaling on where it is you really want your author career to go. Because this is all about defining for yourself the ideal writing life. And you have it in you. You have it in you to make it happen. So go forth and start your author revolution.